now.
Okay, here we go. It's me, Mario.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black and I'm back. Yo, I'm black and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, cause I'm black.
Welcome to Films in Black and White, everybody. I'm very white, but I'm very excited you're with us today. My name is Doug Slides Wagner.
That's interesting.
I don't know why I went with that. I picked something that was relevant to our movie discussion and went, let's go with Slides because we can.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
But happy everybody is here with us today. We're going to talk a little Netflix's You People. We're also going to talk the 2005 movie Guess Who to a certain extent because I watched that. And really, to be honest, we're going to talk about anything else we want to talk about, which is fine.
Whatever else we want to talk about.
That's just kind of works. It's our podcast, so we can. So that's what makes it great. But I need to make sure that my friend, brother, just all around good dude, Marcus, what's the matter with you people, Destin? It's thoroughly welcomed. Marcus, how you feeling?
I'm feeling, we are good. We are here. Happy Black History's Eve. By the time you're hearing this, it will be Black History Month for those that are not joining us on the Patreon. For those that are joining us live in the realm of Meta Facebook, happy Black History Month. I only get blacker from here.
That I do not, but that's very exciting for you. I'm very excited for you. Marcus. Yeah. Anything excited about that you're excited about this Black History Month season?
Yeah, just honestly, being blacker.
Okay.
Just really upping the ante on my blackness. One of the things, we get to Black History Month, and sometimes, not a lot of times, I feel like there's a lot of reflection on just the resiliency part. So it's like a lot of the sadness and a lot of the things that we had to push through. I just want to focus more, not forget, but focus a little bit more on the joy of being black. You know what I mean? And just like, as much bullshit that is happening, the bullshit ain't gonna stop. You know what I mean? And we've made it through a lot.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to enjoy that more, just the joys of being black. So
that's the way. That's the way to have a positive attitude. Yeah. And I feel like we do that not to take away from upcoming Black History Month, but we do that anytime Black History Year. Anytime we do that anytime we celebrate any like significant cultural group. It's like Latino History Month. We talk about it's a lot of like, we use it as an opportunity to celebrate all of the ways in which we've fell short as a country or even maybe in our communities. But it can be so much more than that. So I appreciate the positive vibe you bring to it.
Yeah, I don't want it to be so somber. Like, yes, we made it, but don't give me slow violins. Give me like electric guitar. Like, I want to be Black rock star for this Black History Month. That's what I need the most. But how are you doing, Doug?
I'm good, man. The sun was out today, so I don't know how. I did. So that was good. It was a good day at work. It was a chill weekend. It was nice to just kind of kick it and relax a little bit. Vermilion has gotten 47 inches of snow this winter season so far. And I can feel it. I feel it in my joints is where I really feel it.
Disgusting.
But other than that,
that's one way to ruin Black History Month, is just walking outside and seeing that much white just snow. It's not really great for me and my homeboys just to be walking outside and just I didn't go anywhere for the past 2 days this weekend. Like it was snowing and drifting and all this other stuff. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to go nowhere.
we also did not go anywhere either for that exact reason. Yeah, talk about being reminded of being oppressed every time you walk outside
and
have just white in your face. So but it was a good weekend. Was able to just kind of kick it. Didn't really do a lot, which was fine. Got to read a little bit, got to play outside with the kids a little bit. So all in all, it was a great weekend. And so I'm just happy to be with here. Happy it's Monday because we get to do this, which is something I look forward to. This is the best
part of Mondays. Best part of Mondays.
Now, you may notice that Brian Roush, Brian Roush, is not with us. He is not dead, but he is currently driving from Orlando, Florida, all the way back to Illinois. So we would just like to say, keep at it, Brian. You can do it.
Keep on keeping on, brother.
You keep on keeping on. You know, if you see headlights coming at you, Brian, merge. Like, you're fine.
Wow. I want to know how jam-packed is Brian's car with souvenirs, trinkets. You know, because when you go on a trip, it's like you don't leave with as much stuff. But when you coming back from a trip, it seems like everything doubles. So I'm interested to know how much stuff Brian is like packed. He should do like an unpacking haul when he gets
I would
back.
love to see they call it like an unboxing and unvanning as they unpack the van and pull everything out. And they're like, oh, this is that thing. All I can say is if you follow Brian on Twitter, he took a picture of him in his fighter pilot helmet as he is getting ready to go. And I hope he goes the whole drive wearing it because
I really hope he does too.
Not to.
Yeah. To be honest. Could you imagine? He opens up the back of the van. He pulls out the helmet. Then he pulls out the axe and then a lightsaber. That's only the beginning. Like that merely scratches the surface of
that's
what Brian
just the tip of the iceberg, really.
Yeah.
I did say this to Brian in the chat this weekend that I was really like, it's got to be a little bit easier to drive with it than fly with it because I remember the stress of like, oh no, what's going to happen to my lightsaber? Like, is it going to be okay? And he doesn't have to worry about that because he can just pack the van and give everything, pack it as he needs to. It comes with a case. It does.
Oh, okay, nice.
And we are going to get you your lightsaber, Marcus. I am committed to this trip.
You are.
I am committed.
Doug typed out a whole itinerary plan with prices, like an entire trip to get me to be able to go get a lightsaber. Because I'm the only one.
That's true.
Without a lightsaber,
you need one
in the group. Yeah.
How are we gonna take down the Sith if you don't have one?
That's true.
That's true. Yeah. But Marcus, we do have a relatively somber note to cover because it wouldn't be us if we didn't address some national events and some things that happened. And over the past few days, we've had footage released from the incident in Memphis, Tennessee with Tyree Nichols and what happened to him. And I just want to take a minute because we usually talk about this type of stuff and we're very open about this. And I want to send the thought again. I hate that we've had to do this again, that we have to do this again in the 3-4 years that we've had this podcast, but just thoughts and prayers and good vibes being sent to Mr. Nichols' family and his kids and just all of it. Cause I did not watch the video. Mark Bernardine, who's a comic book person and he's written for some like sci-fi shows and things like that. He said it best, and I'm going to borrow his words, which is, I don't watch the video. I know how it starts. I know how it ends. And I just don't need to. Like I've just seen it so many times at this point in time that I just don't need to. But just wanted to say that our thoughts are with his family and with the community. And we've got to do something about policing in this country because it is so fundamentally broken and needs to be overhauled. But wanted to give you some space as well to kind of talk through maybe what you're thinking or what you're feeling about it as well. So,
it's and I appreciate that, I appreciate everything that you said. For me, it's just, I didn't watch the video either because I felt like watching the video in the headspace that I was in was going to break me. And like that was not what I needed in that moment. Like, it's not what I need right now. Like, and I feel like you kind of said it. You know how it starts, you know how it ends. And just watching the videos of his family alone addressing people. And to be honest, for me, on my algorithm, I don't know if it was just mine, but they have been prepping people for this video on TikTok and on Facebook and on Twitter, like the Memphis Police Department and, you know, the community, they have been prepping themselves and they have been prepping us for, like, when this video comes out, they was like, it's like the Rodney King video, or it's like Emmett Till, like that was like the levels they were putting it on, and based off of like the people that I've seen that have watched the video, based off the things that they say, you know, they did not exaggerate how disgusting and how cruel and how disheartening and sad that you know, that this is. And, you know, him screaming out for his mother and being blocked from his house, and the way that they were, maybe the police, the squad that they had wasn't supposed to be in that neighborhood. Like, we don't know what everything is. We know that they got fired ahead of time. We know that they were very quick to make decisions on things. They did not hesitate this time around. There's a different conversation on, you know, people, you know, them being black cops versus if they were white cops, if things would have been the same. It's so many moving pieces. And for me, it's like, first of all, I don't want to see it's hard for me to see my people do my people like that. You know what I mean? And they always say all skin folk ain't kinfolk, but it goes back to me, to the system is broken. It doesn't matter about, you know, the race, right? That's a component, but it's like the system itself needs to be, you know, needs an overhaul. And so it's just sad. It's very disheartening. It's very sad. I cannot watch the video. So I can't bring myself to watch it. And so, you know, prayers to his family. You know, hopes, you know, I pray that they are covered in this time and they get everything that they need. You know, you can't get your child back. You can't get your son back. They can't get your father back. But, you know, I hope that something comes from this. Some type of change comes from this.
I mean, right? I mean, like, it feels like this has been such like a merry-go-round that every time it comes back around again, and you hope it's a different ride, but it feels like it's going to be so similar. So I hope that we don't get stuck in cynicism. That's the thing that I hope most for us as a collective group of people, is to not be cynical and to actually truly believe that something can be different. But I think another point that you brought up about, because I've also seen this discussion about the police officers and the fact that they were black and the fact that they, you know, and how swift this was. And I think we all need to be reminded of the quote that absolute power corrupts absolutely. Like, it does not matter who it is or what it is. If the system empowers this type of behavior, it doesn't matter who's perpetrating it. It's something that's there. So I think that this is where another reminder that it's the system that's the problem. Like, and we need to point fingers at the system being fixed. So, but this is a movie podcast, and as much as it is something that we wanted to acknowledge, we also have a whole podcast to get to where we talk about race and relationships. So
I'm still trying to figure out where I land with this movie. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well, I'm so excited to explore that with you. But more importantly, we have to play Catch That Quotable.
That quotable.
The soulful sounds of Marcus J. Marcus
Black.
Are you ready for this week's? I didn't.
I think those was the black.
I was gonna be like, the black voice, like, but that's that's.
Can't do the black voice.
Do the black voice for us. Can't do that after what we just touched on. Are you ready for this week's quote, Marcus?
Ready.
Okay. No, I prefer to be unsociable and taciturn. What makes it what makes it so much more enjoyable, don't you think? Hold on. I gotta read that again. No, I prefer to be unsociable and taciturn. Makes it all so much more enjoyable, don't you think?
First of all, using the word taciturn in a quote, I'm not gonna get it. I don't know it.
I feel very confident I am also not going to get it.
Shit!
I blame Roman, because Roman.
Is this his quote?
This is a quote from Roman, and Roman, you've got us all wrong. Like, I don't know how to put this. Like,
whoever you think we are, Roman, that's not who we are.
We are not that guy. Like, we're not those.
We're not
people.
him, pal.
Well, no, we're not. So God, I don't know. I mean, taciturn makes me think like it's Murder, She Wrote. Like it's something like super like highfalutin and do I need a hint, Mr. Clean?
First of all, you insult our movie intelligence, and then you insult my
with a quote like this
partner. With yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna turn down a hint. So if you have one, I'll take it.
You gotta call him Mr. Clean on the way there. That's messed up, Roman. That's messed up, man.
That's insult to injury. So that's just how I feel about it. I mean, my knee-jerk reaction before the hint is that this is some type of like highfalutin book movie. Like, what's the word? Like, what am I looking for? Like this feels like a Shakespeare level movie. Like this feels like it could be like Hamlet. It's a romance movie.
Okay. So you kind of on it with Shakespeare a little bit. I feel like using the word taciturn, somebody who used that word, they like that they around people who don't normally use that word, like kind of a stick in the mud. Like if I'm thinking like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Captain Holt, Andre Brower type energy, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Can you read the quote one more time?
Let me read the quote one more time. Let me read the quote one more time. No.
What the fuck does taciturn even mean?
Taciturn means
taciturn.
No, NASA. No.
NASA. No. What?
Yeah, sorry. I tried to talk to you and read the quote at the same time, which did not work well for my mouth.
Okay.
No. I prefer to be unsociable and taciturn. Makes it all so much more enjoyable, don't you think? Do you think if I read it in a British accent,
I think that kind of
would get it better?
I feel like that kind of helped. That kind of gave me a good little vibe. Like maybe it's a snobby vibe.
I prefer to be unsociable and taciturn. Makes it all so much more enjoyable, don't you think?
Yeah. See, this is somebody who's snarky. Yeah. You know what I mean? This is somebody who's like Keira Knightley is in this movie.
That does not help.
That doesn't help me at all either. I don't know. When the last time I even watched a movie with Keira Knightley in it on purpose. Not a lot that she's not a good actress. I don't know.
Just not my bag.
Attention. Yeah.
We've spent a lot of time here, so I'm gonna lock in my quote. I think that based on the fact that this feels very like old Englishy, I'm gonna go with A Knight's Tale. Now I know that Keira Knightley is not in A Knight's Tale, but I feel very confident that that's what this could be.
Can you name a movie that Keira Knightley is in, just so I got a reference of who this is? Off the top of my head, I can't put a face with a name.
Was Keira Knightley in Pride and Prejudice? Was she in? I feel like she was actually, but she's.
Give me another movie. Give me another movie.
Okay, let me pull this up. I know she's been in a bunch of stuff. She was like the big deal for a while.
I just need to see what her face looks like.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You got it?
Got it. Okay,
yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Zero idea what she was in.
That's
okay. That makes sense. Pirates of the Caribbean. Okay, so can I make a guess of
please
based off of the movie that popped up when I googled her name to see what her face looks like?
Yes.
Is that cheating?
No.
Okay, since he said it's a romance movie, I'm using my resources. I'm gonna say Love Actually.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
So I went with A Knight's Tale. You went with Love Actually.
I went with Love Actually.
Let's see what
we're gonna do. Let's drum roll, please.
We did not get this correct.
God,
it is.
Close.
Oh, this is straight up from.
Is it Pride and Prejudice? Because that's what Brian just texted in the chat. Brian typed in all caps. It's Pride and Prejudice.
Well, Brian would have got it right because it's Pride and Prejudice. Do you see,
Brian?
Do you see what happens when Brian's not here? We're incomplete. Picture.
Yeah, we're not complete.
We're not a complete.
You took advantage of us while we were down, Roman.
Yeah,
it won't happen next week though.
You call me Mr. Clean. You take advantage of me when I'm most vulnerable.
Say Happy Black History Month. Yeah.
There it is. Just
we started off on the wrong foot on this podcast.
We absolutely did.
Foot.
Absolutely did. Marcus,
sorry we let you down, Brian.
It's okay, bro. It's okay, Brian. It's just get back soon. Make sure you don't. We need you. Don't go anywhere. More importantly, Marcus, is there any news pieces or things that you'd like to highlight from this last week before we sort of pivot on over to our movie discussion?
I feel like something happened, and I'm not really sure what it was. Let me scroll through my Rolodex. Do you have anything that you like?
I have two things.
Okay.
First is it's all DC related. Because the first thing is somebody needs to come get Zachary Levi. Like somebody needs to check on him because he's really out here trying to be. He's really like, okay, they haven't announced that Shazam is being recast. Let's see how far I can take this.
He's living life on the edge there.
Let's see what I can do. And so for those of you that don't know, Zachary Levi went to Twitter and he posted some like anti-vax level like statement. So basically like
anti-big pharma, depending on how you read it. It could go either way, to be honest.
Yeah. But the whole like Twitter world is up in an uproar. Like, how could he say that? Like, how could he be such a big like anti-vaxxer type dude? And all I have to say is, come on, man. Like, of the people who are left to be played, I mean, the only people who have yet to be announced as being recast are you and Ezra Miller. So, do you really want to be roped in with Ezra Miller level bullshit, or do you want to try and rise above and try to be somebody a little bit different? Because it's just a little nuts in my mind.
I just don't. He put out this tweet. Well, somebody tweeted something, and he quote retweeted it and was like, "Oh, it was about Pfizer," and it was essentially saying like something about going against Pfizer. He retweeted and it was like he said no, going against it with some type of emoji face, and then everybody obviously got on his ass. And then the next tweet was, "This is what I mean by this," as if he was not trying to say he was a anti-vaxxer, but he was just saying like it was going against Big Pharma, how Pfizer is going to owe people a lot of money because of these whatever allegations, or whatever the case may be. Go read it for yourselves. We are not.
Somebody tweeted. The original tweet said, "Do you agree or not that Pfizer is a real danger to the world?"
Yes.
And Zachary Levi commented on it with hardcore agree with the like flat face, like emoji face, like the thin line, like that one. So yeah, but yeah, so there's that. That's my first piece that I had.
Cool. That ties into my next piece.
Okay.
In the year of our Lord and Savior, 2023, this is what I promised to do for y'all. I am gonna start calling y'all by what y'all are, if necessary. You are a bunch of jabronis. Okay. Jabronis is my word of 2023. Kels really brought it into perspective after the AFC and NFC championship game, right? Going to Super Bowl, telling the mayor, hey, you know what I mean? You need to told the mayor of Cincinnati, like, yo, you need to mind your business and you need to watch what you say and mind your business, stay in your place, you jabroni. And then it made me think of The Rock growing up, how I used to hear The Rock say jabroni, and then I had to Google it to make sure it wasn't a racist term before I started just using this casually.
Oh no, it just means like a foolish person, basically.
It means like a stupid, foolish person. And I was so glad because in this year, 2023, I am calling y'all a bunch of jabronis. All right.
It's a great word.
Levi, you can have whatever opinion you want. Okay. You just got to be responsible. All right. Yeah. You got to be responsible. Okay. And you got to stand 10 toes on it. You jabroni. Okay. Yeah. Anybody else doing stupid shit? Bunch of jabronis. That's all. That's really what all my news is right there. I just want to let y'all know that if you hear me calling you a jabroni, I mean that from the bottom of my nuts.
That's, and that's how you can tell you can mean it. Yeah. I used to remember when The Rock used to say things like, you better be careful, you check yourself into the SmackDown hotel, jabroni. Like it was just like that was the way he went with it. And I think the more I hear this word, the more I want to integrate it into my daily vocabulary.
Just call him a jabroni. Don't let your mouth write a check that your ass can't cash. Like I'm bringing all of that type of rock vibe. We're gonna bring that back. We're gonna bring that back.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm here.
I ain't got no other news really. That's pretty much it.
The other thing I was going to only ask is I'd like to play the speculation game if we can.
Oh God. Okay.
Because rumor on the street is that James Gunn is going to make some announcements about the future of the DCEU tomorrow. I believe the original date was slated like January 31st, that this was supposed to be some things were supposed to start to come out about what he was thinking. So Any speculation or thoughts that you might have about what's to come from DCU EU stuff, Marcus?
Oh, so if I have to speculate, we won't be getting anything about the big three or trilogy. Let's just start there, right? Nothing Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. I think you start with Blue Beetle.
Okay.
And maybe Shazam, depending, like maybe those are the first moving pieces.
Sure.
Because he called it chapter 1.
If
I'm not mistaken, right? So if you call it chapter 1, I think you start with Blue Beetle and where that leads and the Flash. So I think they've made decisions on if the Flash is still happening, what happened. I think you grouping all of these DC movies that are like slated to come out, you're going to put all these together. I think you may get an announcement about Peacemaker 2, which could possibly be a jump start point into the rest of his like DCU. And maybe something about a Green Lantern, something, but nothing in particular. But I honestly can't think of anything outside of Blue Beetle being the main focus of. We may get a 5-movie slate, no series or anything.
Oh yeah,
The Green Lantern could be the series. So like we'll maybe get a 5-project slate. That's me.
Yeah.
I
could see. I think you're right. Like I do think they're not going to announce any big movies that are coming, because they're still figuring out some casting stuff. So I think that there's still like laying foundations and laying groundwork. I think if it's going to be anything, I think we might get like a casting announcement for like a one of the big three. I think this is where you maybe put some of the like. I think you put some of like either you commit to being like Gal Gadot as your Wonder Woman, because he never said that she was out, right? Like he never said like she's done. So that would be an easy one to be like, yep, we decided to bring her back. She's going to come back for a different movie, not written by Patty Jenkins, but it's going to be a different person. So I could see you doing that. I mean, I think on the tail end, like on the really far end of the spectrum, that is like unlikely. I don't think it's likely we get like a Superman announcement or a Batman announcement, but I think if we get any type of casting announcement, we're going to get a Wonder Woman one. And it's also confirming that Gal Gadot's not leaving.
And there's like something about like a Matt Reeves, even though it's not connected to this universe. I think that you get something about Matt Reeves Batman or some type of hint to that. But I definitely I can't see any major casting. I'm sorry. I just think it's one of those kind of, they're going to work backwards. They're going to build from the foundation, these ground type heroes that will lead to your big three. But I just can't see them doing it. Possibly more about the Flash, like an additional trailer or something like that, so that they can finally go on the press run, because that movie is supposed to be coming out soon and we don't have no shit else about it.
It is
the
supposed
trailer,
to be coming out soon. Like what, February, March?
I think it's March or something like that.
Sounds right.
So,
Anyway, damn.
Yeah, but I don't know what the fuck he got going on. Apparently, Dave Bautista thinks he's gonna start from scratch. So that came out today. I don't know how the fuck that happened.
It's because of Dave Bautista, I think, ever since like Knives Out, and especially since because Knock at the Cabin, which is what's coming out next week that we're actually going to review. It's an M. Night Shyamalan movie. He's been in the spotlight a lot more, and I think he's really kind of trying to get a role somewhere in the DCEU, but he wants it to be the right one, because someone asked him somewhere like, hey, Dave, do you think you would ever want to play Bane? And he was like, I would love to play Bane. I just don't think my body can handle putting on that much weight. Like, I don't think I could handle the physical toll of like packing on the pounds. But because I agree, like, I think he'd be an awesome Bane, but I just don't think like he's a little bit older. So I think it would be hard for him to like you said, if he thinks his body can't do it, then he knows his body better than I do. So
I think it depends on like which Bane that we get. Like if it's like the Young Justice Bane is like Spanish speaking and he comes from like Spanish wrestling and like that kind of heritage, that would be pretty cool for me to see. I don't know how you carry Batman in this. If he's his own, if we get another Batman solo movie, or if you tie this Batman into the rest of the big three, so he's more a part of the Justice League, and then Matt Reeves has his own individual like, I have zero idea of what they're, how they're going to tie in video games, movies, and TV.
I'm kind of excited about that too, to be honest with you.
It's interesting.
Like, I'm interested. They've kept things such close to the vest, and they haven't like announced enough for me to be like, all right, DC, like I'll pay attention. Like, what do you want to tell me? So, I recently read a comic book that was Bane oriented. That was really good. I've been reading these one shots that DC has been doing about Batman villains called One Bad Day, and they did one for Bane recently, and it was really good. I did not see a lot of what they were going to cover coming, so it was really interesting. So yeah. But yeah,
I'm also throwing their Suicide Squad too. I feel like something about a Suicide Squad could be announced because that's easy enough for you to slap a bunch of random characters together and make a movie to propel chapter 1 forward. You know what I mean? Like something like that.
You could follow up. I've heard that the video game is going to be dog shit. So
that's what I heard too. They put that leak out and then mum's the word on the rest of that planning and programming for that movie. So for that game. So good luck with that.
Godspeed. The last thing I want to cover, like rumor wise, is there's a couple rumors I've been seeing floating around TikTok, and we're gonna pivot to the other studio that does typically comic book oriented things, which is Marvel. Yeah. And it's all Fantastic Four oriented because there have been some leaks that have circled around Reddit and other sources that I think we just want to touch on quickly.
Okay. I haven't heard any of these, so I don't know.
I'm gonna run down a couple.
Okay.
The first is we have a rumored casting, and we have a casting for Victor Von Doom.
Is it Jake Gyllenhaal?
It is not Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
It is Adam Driver.
Oh God. I don't know. Okay, maybe that could work.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
Yeah, I don't know. That could okay. I don't know. Yeah. That's a little dry for me. Sometimes Adam Driver can be he can like drag a little bit. I don't know if I see him as the biggest of biggest bads yet. I don't know. Victor Von Doom? Adam Driver as Victor Von Doom? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like he could do it. Like he's certainly menacing. Like he does villains well. I mean, he did Kylo Ren really well.
Yeah, didn't he already play a metal face villain already? Like Kylo Ren, Dr. Doom,
kind of what I thought too. I was like, you kind of did.
They both shoot lightning out of their fingertips. That's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. So that's the first one. Again, these are all like gigantic grains of salt. So no one should quote us on this at all.
For sure. No, quote us. Fuck
it. Quote me. That's fine. Watch it. Disney's listening to the podcast and we'll announce it tomorrow. Well, the film's in black and white. Got it. Bet as well. If those two have it, we might as well let it out.
Yeah.
The other rumor is the main villain of Fantastic Four's movie that's coming. And Victor Von Doom is not the main villain. Galactus is. And there are some rumors swirling around. My brother commented, Adam Driver deserves redemption from how Disney did him dirty. He kind of did.
Honestly, I would agree. Him and the
100%.
The guy who played Finn.
John Boyega.
Yeah,
John Boyega.
John Boyega needs a big time redemption. You're right, Sam. Right.
They did not do them very well at all. So anyway, Galactus is rumored to be the main villain for the Fantastic Four reboot. And there are rumors swirling around that Liam Neeson will be the voice for Galactus.
I can't even say what I wanted to say because it's Black History Month, and I don't typically. I can't even say what I was going to say. I can't even say what I was going to say.
I kind of want to know what you're.
You ever heard that? Now. Did you ever hear that story about Liam Neeson when he talked about how he was so mad after an incident happened with one of his friends? He walked around the bad neighborhoods, like predominantly Black neighborhoods, looking for trouble, hoping somebody would like approach him.
No,
you never heard those.
No. Was he trying to test his very secret special set of skills?
You got to look the story up on your own. It was like something happened to a friend of his, and it was done, I think he said, by a Black man. And so he would like, when he was so pissed off, he would walk around neighborhoods and he would hope that somebody would like come up and like do something to him. And so in my head, when you said he played Galactus, in my head, all I heard was Galactus saying, "I wish a nigga would." And that was all I could think. That was the only thing that I could think of. And so I'm sorry for people listening. I typically don't like to,
no,
but
yeah. Come on, try and take it from me. I dare you. I double dare you.
I dare you, Reed. I dare you. Yeah, I did like Liam Neeson. Roman Myers said he liked him, and Ted was hilarious. Yeah, he did really good in that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Does he have the voice for Galactus though?
I don't know, and that's my kind of problem with it is like I don't think he has.
Sorry, Brian,
like
if you're listening in the car.
He has a menacing
Brian, kids and stuff. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry, everybody in the car. I apologize,
you know what though?
Dearly.
Here's what I'm gonna say, Brian. If you're listening to this with your children in the car, you know what this is.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, like you've been on the air with us before, so anyway, but I don't.
Brian says Adam Driver is a Jim in Star Wars in all caps. In all caps. I just want to let y'all know he's texting our chat right now. I have no idea if he's driving or if he's, I don't know, but Brian is with us.
The other thing I'll say is there's a rumored Disney Plus like special presentation all about Silver Surfer that would come out before the reboot, setting up Galactus. I don't know. It seems like a lot. So I don't know how true it is, but it seems like a lot.
I would like a special presentation done on the Silver Surfer.
That'd be cool.
Give me 45 minutes of Werewolf by Night vibes for the Silver Surfer. Put it in black and white. I don't give a fuck about that either. Do that too.
That was fine.
And I think that's fine. Give me a nice voice for the Silver Surfer. Or honestly, don't give him a voice at all. Just do somebody narrating the story or something like that about the rumors of the Silver Surfer.
And how he originated.
And how he originated, or how a herald of Galactus happened, like how a herald of any herald of any time period. Because I can't see them bringing in Silver Surfer until, I don't know. That doesn't seem like they would bring him in immediately. That seems like that'd be a sequel movie, kind of like the first time they did.
I mean, again,
Four.
that's a lot.
You're doing your major characters the first go round. I can't see you doing the major characters.
I mean, they have said like this isn't going to be an origin story. Like you're going to pick them right up. But again, it feels like it's way too much to cover. And I feel like a Disney Plus special presentation about Silver Surfer, fine. I can do that. Like that's absolutely fine. But don't give me homework for the movie because there are going to be people who get pissed by that. And to be honest with you, I don't know how well that's going to go over. Right now, the rumors are swirling around where it's just there's so much to set up and so much to talk about. I mean, there was also another rumor swirling around that Molecule Man will be introduced in Fantastic Four.
No way.
And the sole reason why is to set up Secret Wars.
No way.
And so
here's why I say no way.
It's just too much.
Here's why I say no way. With oh god, I'm forgetting people's names. Who is the new Disney head of Disney
Bob
now?
Iger.
Bob Iger. With Bob Iger back, thank you. Less is more. That's the Bob Iger model.
That's the Bob Iger way.
Quality over quantity. So I can't see Bob Iger. Something got to give. All of these things ain't happening at once. I think they're definitely going to go less is more. So I don't know if you get that special presentation on Silver Surfer. I don't know. I don't know if you do. I think they're going to go quality over quantity. And it's also rumored Fantastic Four is a time traveling movie of sorts. There's another rumor I keep seeing. Like that one has been consistent since they announced it. Yeah. And so you would need to do an old villain. You know what I mean? Like if they're time traveling, who is that older villain? It could be Molecule Man. It could be somebody we don't know. It could be I'm getting the Incredibles mixed up with Fantastic Four. Who's Mole Man? But there's a Fantastic Four character like that too, though.
I mean, there is one. He's a pretty minor villain, but there is one.
But you could do it that way if you really, really wanted to, and just focus on the family getting it together.
Yeah. But again, these are all rumors swirling out there. There's only one rumor that I hope really isn't true. Like I'm fine with all of this as of now. The rumor right now is that the Disney Plus show is that Ryan Gosling will be playing the Silver Surfer, and I really just don't want that to be the case.
Sexy Silver Surfer.
And that's your response is why I don't want it to happen, because I don't want it to be like this dude has a 13-pack of abs, so we're going to make him the Silver Surfer. Yep, that's right. Not an even amount. You figure out how that works on his body.
13-pack of abs and a 12-inch surfboard.
Yep. The 10 toes down on that. So that's where I just hope that that's not the case, because I really just don't want to have to deal with a sexy Silver Surfer. And plus, I like the idea of Ryan Gosling doing Ghost Rider, which he has been linked to as well. So
doing what in Ghost Rider?
Being like Danny Ketch or Johnny Blaze.
Hell no.
I don't hate it, and I don't hate it because of Baby Driver.
Hell no. I'm
don't
sorry.
hate it.
No, I can't do it. I
don't
can't,
hate it.
I can't. Give me Robbie Reyes or give me somebody who looks like Keanu Reeves, because I don't think Keanu Reeves is going to do Ghost Rider. But I don't know. I don't want to see Ryan. I like Ryan Gosling. I just don't want to see him in that role. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just But who knows? And again, this is all speculation. We are years away and probably won't get any type of announcement until we get closer to D23, which doesn't happen to the fall.
Only thing I can tell you is the Fantastic Four will run MCU after Secret Wars. It's going to be, they are going to be the main focus, and whatever it is you want to do after that, if it's Avengers versus Fantastic Four or whatever the case, whatever Mutants versus Fantastic Four, that's going to stem from them. So you got to get that right, and that's the only thing that I know.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be the first family, which is how they're referred to comic book wise. Is that the first family of Marvel? So they're going to lean into that 100% going forward.
Yeah.
But that's all that I had. That's all I had in terms of things to sort of touch on, which was a lot because we still have a whole ass movie to talk about. So, Marcus, you and I watched the Netflix movie You People. Starring Eddie Murphy, Jonah Hill, Lauren London, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and others. But Marcus, would you please give us the barbershop summary for You People?
Okay, so You People, basically, right? You got this, and listen, if I'm just describing it, how they set it up. So if I use a term that ain't right, I apologize in advance. Okay. You have this Jewish man. Okay, you have this Jewish man who is he is infatuated or involved in Black culture. I think that's kind of what was hinted at here.
Yes.
And so you have this Jewish man, and he's like not really a heavy practicing Jewish man. You could tell he's kind of like an outcast from his family. Like he's like this kind of in between where he's not Black, but he's an outcast from his family and feels significantly different. The way he dresses, the way he speaks, and all that other stuff. That's Ezra. Okay. And then you got Ezra. And then you get the other beautiful young lady, Lauren London, who plays oh God.
Amira,
Ezra and Amira, because I did like those names a lot. So thank you. She plays Amira. Okay, they meet each other. So Ezra is struggling because he want to find the one. Okay, he want to find somebody that's his person, and he is feel like he lost. And he do this podcast, and he's also in finance. And he talks to his partner, and his partner is like, "Yo, Mo, Mo, I want to be in love. I want to feel like this Drake. I want to feel like take care of Drake or whatever the case may be." They have a whole conversation, and then he meets Amira by accident, and then ends up on a date with Amira and falling for Amira. And Amira's like, I want somebody who.
Anyway, he wants someone. Marcus is having some technical difficulties.
They go on a couple dates. They fall in love with each other, and then they get to this stage where he proposes. All right, boom, he proposes. They move in together, and then they got to do this thing where they got to meet each other's families. Amira's dad, played by Eddie Murphy, he's like blackity black. Okay, he's changed his name to he's Muslim Black. What his name was?
Akbar.
His name Akbar. He changed his name from Woody to Akbar, right? And so he's like blackity black, like black on black. And then Ezra's family is like Jewish, traditionally a Jewish family who they are just, I don't know much about it, so I'm assuming that the stereotypes that they painted within this movie seems to be close to that. I don't really know. So
yes.
I can't really call it. I can only speak for the Blackness. So anyway, so the dad is like, he Amir, he finds out Amir is dating Ezra. He ain't really messing with it like that because he's like, you want this white boy to be part of our family, and we want to try to figure it out. So he's trying to it's not like Meet the Fockers, but it's kind of like he's just trying to show that he's not like fitting in with this family, and like there's something up with him. He's like, it's not heavily like trying to manipulate him or expose him. He's just trying to catch him in the act.
It's really hard to place his motivation. Like we'll get into it like when we get into like the full like breakdown of the movie, but it is hard to place what he exactly is trying to accomplish with this.
Yeah, because it gets a little confusing. But so they go through this whole thing where they hang out with each other's families. Each family has their own thing. Either it's misunderstandings, misinterpretations, stereotypes, just they have the families go at it about who basically the oppression Olympics about who had it worse, black people or Jewish people, and then you go into like how they don't fit and how they don't understand, and the whole movie based off of them trying to learn each other and understand each other, and then figure out how to be in love when your families are basically on two ends of the spectrum when it comes to like race and the social commentary.
Yes. Yeah, that's a really good synopsis without giving too much away. Also, spoiler alert really quickly, like if you're waiting to watch You People, you did a good job. You didn't give anything away with your barbershop summary. So like if you're waiting to see it and you don't want us to spoil it for you, we're going to get into some of the details of this movie. So like put a pin in it, come back later, check out the timestamps in the episode description, and come back later. But we are going to talk about You People. So if you're waiting, do that. Let's break down cast, shall we? Jonah Hill plays Ezra.
Lauren also London has a producing credit and a writing credit on this.
Correct. Yes.
With Kenya Barris. And that's very important. We got to come back to the Kenya Barris writing this.
Yep. Lauren London plays Amira. Eddie Murphy plays Akbar. Julia Louis-Dreyfus plays Shelley. Sam J plays Mo, who is the podcast partner to Jonah Hill. Nia Long plays Akbar's wife, Fatima.
Beautiful Nia Long.
Oh, yeah. Travis Bennett plays Omar, which is Amira's brother. David Duchovny plays Ezra's dad. And then there's some other notable folks in here. Dion Cole is in this. Elliot Gould is in this. Rhea Pullman is in this. Mike Epps is in this. So there's a wide variety of different folks. They play some like background or like one-off characters, but that's where we're at. So all in all, Marcus.
My mom says, "We miss you, Brian," with an eye.
Thank you for the love and support.
Yeah.
Marcus, what did you think of this movie?
I'm gonna be honest with you, straight off the rip. I don't know how I feel about this movie. Like usually, I can come in here with like a definitive answer, but I don't know how I feel. I can tell you what it made me feel while I was watching it because I was texting Brian and Doug. It made me cringe. Like it made me squirm with some of the dialogue and interaction. And I don't know if it would, usually you can give credit to being like, that's what the movie's supposed to do. The commentary is, but honestly, it just made me feel like, I don't know if I like the way that they going about this. That's kind of my first initial reaction.
I will say I enjoyed this movie. Like I enjoyed watching this movie, but I had similar feelings at times with it. Like especially just sort of like the cluelessness at times of Ezra's family, but also the whole dynamic of their relationship just kind of bugged me. Like it, and it bugged me for very specific reasons.
Okay, what's your reasons?
So here's where I struggled with this.
Yeah.
This movie I enjoyed it. I had a fun time watching it. What I struggled with is that there's this dynamic with them as a couple where they almost like compartmentalize and they say, you, Ezra, are responsible for building a relationship and bridging this gap with my dad. You, Amira, are responsible for creating and developing and bridging this gap relationship-wise with my mom. Godspeed, good luck to you.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me from like a relationship piece of this that says, if you knew that there was going to be an issue, if you knew that there was going to be a problem, and if you okay, I'm going to say this because fuck it, I don't care. If you really loved and cared the person that you were with, you wouldn't burden them with trying to figure that out for themselves. There is a moment, not to flash forward to the end, where Jonah Hill tells off Eddie Murphy, Amira tells off Julia Louis-Dreyfus. To me, that is not who is responsible for having those conversations.
Who is it?
Jonah Hill is responsible for telling his mom, she ain't a piece of property that you get to show off to your friends and make she's not a toy for you to play with. And the way you've been talking about this whole time makes me uncomfortable as somebody who cares for her, but also makes her uncomfortable. Let's you and I talk about ways we can fix that. Similarly, Amira needs to go to her dad. And this is where I maybe don't understand some cultural pieces of what would happen in the relationship between a father and a daughter in a black family. Not something that I would understand. But there's a part of me with Eddie Murphy's with Amira's character where it's like, no, you need to be like, he's making an effort and you're being an ass. Like, and I need you to fix it. But that's where I looked at it and said, like, oh man, those are not the people who are supposed to be having that conversation.
I think that's a very great point. I think that's a very great point to start. I'm gonna rewind us back a little bit. Here's my other issue. Okay. They got zero chemistry, and that's what was throwing me off. They to me had no chemistry between Jonah Hill and Lauren London. And I understand this is Lauren London's first time coming back since like the whole Nipsey Hussle thing. First time back, really coming back into acting since then, right? He was a coward.
I mean,
yeah, I mean,
everybody really.
But the thing, I agree with you. They go this whole movie by dividing and conquering and forced to fend for themselves or they introduce themselves into their world, and then they also have another moment where they introduce their people into their world. And to me, it was like, I didn't feel the chemistry in them to fight for it, because it feels like they kind of rushed into marriage to me. If I'm like looking at it, just because you gave me a montage, it seems like they didn't learn anything, and they had moved in together with each other, and they like proposed to each other and act like they were so like deeply in love. And to me, I just didn't feel that chemistry and connection.
And this to your point, this movie does not a good job of letting you how much time has gone by.
Oh no,
there are two title cards where it says time has passed, and it is the first at the beginning and at the end. Otherwise, it is, you don't know if this has been a week. You don't know if it's been a month. You don't know if it's been 6 months. You have no idea how much time has gone by.
I didn't know how much they had when they got engaged, like when they were married to each other. Like,
not that that's always a surefire measurement.
No. But just for the sake of like a movie and telling the thing, here's what I say about this movie. The cast in itself is great. I think you put together a phenomenal cast.
100%.
Right? Eddie Murphy, for me, is Eddie Murphy, and how do you pronounce Ezra's mom's name? The real name.
Dreyfus.
Yes. Madam Hydra and Eddie Murphy. Okay. These two for me was like, they stood out the most. They had more chemistry on set and like in scenes together than Ezra and Lauren London. I'm gonna bounce between all of these different names because I can't remember. So they had more chemistry together than me. To me, as a black person, I was squirming because Lauren London knew who her father was. That was what was getting me. She knew her father was blackity black from the beginning. She knew she was Muslim. She knew all of that.
Yeah.
And did not prepare him for that moment. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like, I don't know whose responsibility that is in real life, but Ezra didn't do the same thing for her. Really, he was like, yeah, my mom's weird. Right. My mom's just weird. My mom is weird. But like, that didn't describe how weird or how disconnected she was.
That's such a generic white guy's response to describe their mother. Like that, you know what I mean? Like I'm sure I've said that to Brittany at some point in time. Like, oh, my family's a little weird. Like, but there was none of that. But it's because you didn't have to dial into the specifics of it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? There was no culture shock. Or sorry, this movie was all culture shock.
Yeah.
It was all like, hey, Ezra, we're going to throw you into a barbershop. Then we're going to throw you onto a basketball court. And then on top of that, you have to understand all of these other dynamics when your father-in-law comes with you on your bachelor party. That is all culture shock, no understanding.
And it's a very broad stroke in the way that they covered it.
Very broad stroke,
because they put these two families on the complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Eddie Murphy, being who he is, had a kufi from Minister Louis Farrakhan in a house where the Jewish family was like, no, but we heard what he said about Jewish
people. Yep.
And that is what the meat and potatoes of the dinner conversation is. And then they go back and forth about, which is a real conversation, I would assume. And I guess I've never been in this situation. Here's what this movie gave me: PTSD for dating interracially.
Okay.
And to me, I was like, this is something, and it wasn't just a movie that did this. I've been thinking about this as I'm on Tinder and Hinge and Bumble and whatever other dating app in Vermillion, South Dakota, right?
Because you know what your mom would say. She's on here, but I know what she would say. Your mom would say, Marcus, don't touch the white girls.
Don't touch the white people. That's what she said. That's the rule. To keep us safe. She came up with this rule.
That's right.
See, I can't believe Doug remember that. That's hilarious.
I remember everything.
And so to me, I got PTSD for dating interracially because I don't know how those interactions go in real life. And you bring me to your white family that I guess he's single. What is she talking about? Now is not the time.
Because you're on Bumble and Hinge. You're putting it out there. So it's like, yes, she's single.
Oh, okay. Yes, I am very single. So I don't know. It makes me second guess dating interracially because I don't know what that interaction is going to be. Is it genuinely like that? Like those microaggressions, or she was damn near trying her hardest to be a good person. I genuinely believe she wasn't saying all that stuff to be rude, like directly, but you don't have to be rude in order to have these microaggressions instilled in you. And you don't have to be racist in order to like do these things that make, people of color uncomfortable if you don't know a lot of shit. So I don't know. I don't know.
And I guess I'll say this, having been, because Brittany and I have been married for almost, it'll be almost 12 years. Brittany and I have been married for almost 12 years. So like I can speak from like what it's like to bridge the gap between two families. And it's awkward at first because these two groups of people, for all intents and purpose, would have no reason to hang out with one another other than their kids are getting married.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, like, and I'm being a little like funny about it, but that's really what it is. And so it's hard to balance those like expectations and blend that gap. What I feel confident saying within 100% certainty is that this feels like the in-laws trope that happens in romantic comedies played out to the extreme.
Yeah.
Like to say that Amira's family is so oblivious that they would just let their, like, just to actively mistreat this man for no other reason. I mean, is it a little tone deaf to take him to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles when you're trying to get to know him? Not the place I would pick.
That's purely comedy bit.
That is pure comedy shit.
But there are people who wouldn't notice the difference and be like, there are people that genuinely believe that that's a right decision.
They would be like, they probably love it here. And so I think while a little culturally tone deaf, like not an unrealistic situation. So there's that part of it, but there's such a hard part of me of like, you're going to watch and be in a room and you're going to hear from Ezra how your dad is, and you're not going to say anything. Like they talk routinely.
Yeah.
You're not going to say anything. Like that's what I kept coming back to. And to Ezra's family. Again, your mom is trying really hard to make an effort. You're not going to teach her how to like enter into that conversation without being offensive. Like you're not going to equip her with those skills at all. Like you're literally just going to be like, she's an adult, figure it out. Like this relationship must not be that important to either one of you because neither one of you wants to try to equip it with what it needs to be successful.
That's a good, okay. All right. See, this goes back to like the amount of layers there are in, this, like, and maybe it's good because it's starting a discussion and maybe you have to start on the extreme so that you can like, come to the middle and meet in between. Like maybe that's a possibility of how they wrote it. But the thing for me is one of the things was for me, Ezra Okay.
Yeah.
I meet a lot of people that's like, we love Black culture, and they do everything in the Black culture, the way they dress, the way they talk, the way they, you know what I mean? They sauce everything about them. And when they're not Black, screams, we love the Black culture. But then my other part of that is they be so in love with the Black culture, but be oblivious and blind to the shit that's happening within it that's important. Like, you love the cute shit, you love wearing the tennis shoes, you love talking, using our slang, you love using AAV, and you love all that shit. You listen to the music, the hip hop, all that. And Ezra like was dressing the part, but he was not understanding genuinely. You're on a podcast where your best friend, the person you go to work with and do a podcast with and quit business and finance with, is talking about the culture on a regular basis, and you mean to tell me you nowhere in you or in your experiences or your interaction did they write this character to be like, oh, I hang with my partner enough to know Roscoe taking a Black family to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle is not the best bet. I don't give a fuck how goofy you are.
Again,
to me,
you
that
didn't think to call. I mean, you talked to your best friend on a podcast. What I can only assume is because it's so successful, a weekly podcast where you are talking to them about the culture, and you not once would say like, "Hey, I'm dating a Black woman. Where should I take her family? I need to meet them for the first time." Because I could feel 100% confident that Mo would be like, "Don't do that.
Are you stupid? Yeah, like,
please don't do
dumb?
that."
And that's the thing that gets me is like, as much as you think you love the culture and the people and all that other stuff in it, and you want to be an ally and your fist is up and you're walking stuff, if your interactions are not genuine and you aren't learning anything while you are enjoying the culture, then you are missing like an important piece, and you are not prepared to date it. You know what I mean? Like, you like, let alone like, you can walk it, dress it, you can dress it up as much as you want to, but when you talk about marrying somebody and having children and all of these other pieces, as much as you love somebody, that takes a different step to understand somebody. And that's what I felt like was being missed.
Right. 100%. I want to talk about Mo's character a little bit because Brittany and I watched this together. And one of the things that we found interesting that I brought up was I felt like Mo's voice in this movie was supposed to be almost like what we were thinking to a certain extent, because you have the ridiculousness of the families for the comedic bit, right? Like the pulling the wig off, the taking him to, the asking him about all the cocaine and him shitting himself
that was
on the
weird.
Strip, which was weird,
very strange,
very weird, right? Like, you have those moments which are supposed to be funny, but then you have Mo throughout all of this. And there's a specific point of dialogue after the relationship is over that Mo says it's not supposed, no, before the relationship is over, but Mo says like, it can't work. Like, it can't work. Like, it's one of those things of like, we can never forget what white people have done to us for such a long time.
Yeah.
It's the ex. Like, you can never forget what white people have done to, and this I'm quoting her line, what white people have done to us, like, so we can't get past it. So there's no way we can have any type of relationship or trust there. And I feel like that line is in there to be like, hey, people who are watching this, if you are wondering why it's so hard and that this isn't working, listen to what Mo's saying, because maybe that's where the truth is as to where this isn't working. And so what were your thoughts on her character, and what were your thoughts on her, like, that specific piece of dialogue?
If I'm being honest, I feel like Mo could have been used a little bit more. Like, this movie gives me a lot of fluff and scenarios. It's like, let's put him in this uncomfortable situation. It does that a lot. But I feel like maybe Mo, if for somebody I guess we do podcasts weekly and we talk every day. We do. And so for me, I'm like, okay, that's somebody that I trust and somebody that I rely on and will confide in. I feel like maybe Mo was not used to the best that they could have been, because then Mo flops back to, we can't wait to go to Vegas and be with the guys and chill and do all this shit and do cocaine. And that, like, to me, that just threw me, you know what I mean? Like, it threw me for a loop a little bit, because it was like, you saying all this stuff, Mo, but yet you're the three guys that you're hanging with, you the only black person that's hanging with this group. And then Eddie Murphy says a line of like, I didn't get the son-in-law who hangs with these moderately racist, cocaine doing these guys, and like they said you're defined by your friends, and his two friends are these guys doing cocaine. One said he stormed the fucking January 6th.
The funniest moment of that sequence.
That was Andrew Schultz is hilarious, right? He's like, yeah, he may be a liberal fucktard, but like he's my brother. You know what I mean? Like, and so I don't know.
That was funny.
Yeah. I just feel like maybe Mo could have been used a little bit differently as a voice of reason, or could have been a mediator. Because in any situation, wouldn't you have your best friend?
And one would think.
Because who else do you talk to get that experience?
And that's the other piece that I struggled with that character is it was like they're best friends, they're business partners, they talk daily, and there's maybe like 4 interactions that are on screen, and that is not, I mean, I suppose you're trying to avoid the gay best friend piece of this, like, well, I don't want to make them like the stereotypical like black best friend, but I don't know, like that it seems weird, like that seems
this movie
weird.
Was missing something for me.
Sure.
And I just feel like a lot of it was the character development. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know if the way that Lauren London's character went about things, like with her family and expecting him to do all these things and letting him get chewed out, and like, you know who your father is, you kind of set him up to fail. I just don't understand that one.
You started this conversation off like, didn't she not, like they were at the like smoothie place and Eddie Murphy goes on this tirade of like, oh, now they're even coming trying to take this from us. Like he says like, oh, I'm seeing somebody. She even avoids the topic altogether.
And Eddie Murphy makes this movie. He's hilarious. Everything he says seems like it wasn't written in the script. It was something that he was ad-libbing. And when they go do the basketball thing, and Ezra, you could tell, is uncoordinated, but apparently he's supposed to be good at basketball.
There's no way that man is good at basketball.
He tries to he just
look. I didn't play basketball because I knew my skill set, and it was not that. And I watched him. I was like, you're kind of running like a 7th grader who just figured out how to dribble a basketball. Like,
and that's my thing.
Just went over it in gym class.
They forced him to be like, oh, he gets the culture because he's good at basketball. Like he knows how to gel well with people.
Also,
it just felt forced.
Also, I have another question. I'm going to make some assumptions, so it is what it is. This man has grown up in LA.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And somehow, Eddie Murphy takes him into Inglewood.
Yep.
To a barbershop.
Yep.
And he's going to roll up wearing red. And he fucking grew up there. There's a part of me that's like, no. That's not on him. That's on you.
Yeah.
You know what this like.
Because when I went to LA, when we went to LA, we took that road trip to LA. Me, Z, and Aaron, a Czech, a Hispanic man, and a black man. We all went. One of the first things we talked about was when we went to LA Sundays, and LA Sundays let us ride with them and like record them and do all that. So we're riding with all these motorcyclists, and they doing all these flips and tricks and shit and blocking off intersections. The one thing that we had on that we was wearing, black. We only wore neutral colors in LA because I knew better. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so you can't tell me, you being there, that you don't know better. Also, he told Lauren London that he hung around. He knew some place like the back of his hand because he's always there. But I never would have guessed, by the way, that he was interacting with some of these folk like he had never been around black people before.
Right. And so there's a part of me that's like, and secondly, if you were rolling up in there and they said like, hey man, lose the hoodie, you lose the fucking hoodie.
Yeah.
Like you painted this character for the entire time of this movie. You said he's not very strong. He's not going to stand up for himself. I mean, that scene where he's trying to talk to his boss and he's trying to quit. Yeah. I saw so many pieces of myself in that interaction where he's like, I'm going to do the work from a different place, but it's also not going to be, it's going to be different work. Like I thought that was hilarious to me. And that same person who couldn't tell his boss, like, hey, I quit, is going to go to a barbershop wearing the wrong colors and keep them on. No, sir.
To impress my father-in-law, like that's
No.
that's not happening for me.
No.
And the other thing for me is like, I don't know. I agreed with Lauren. I like the way that Lauren in London. Do I think that she should have been the one to talk to the mom like that? That I don't know. But Lauren London, the way that she phrased, "I'm not your toy. I'm not your like action figure. I'm not your this. I'm not your that." I like the way that she phrased that because, you know, when I looked at the dialogue and stuff, it was kind of put in this position of like, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to do these things. I got you. I know exactly who you are. You get to use me as this guinea pig or studying like this topic of
your
discussion when you go to your thing. Yeah, like your research project. So I did like that. It seemed a little bit more organic on the mom and mother-in-law side than it did on the dad and the father-in-law side for me.
Yeah. I want to ask about this because this is where I'm genuinely curious is where is the line between trying to understand, but also subsequently being offensive? Like we know that, like we know from how like microaggressions work, right? Like we know that they're ingrained in your, even to a certain extent in your subconscious, where it's just like you don't even know that you're doing them. That's why they're microaggressions. Like how do you approach that? Like what should Ezra's mom have done differently in that scenario?
I can't speak for all black people.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm asking.
No. I just got to say that.
J.
Yeah,
I'm asking you as Marcus J. Destin. Marcus, the you people Destin. What are you?
What you mean? What you mean, you people?
What you mean, you people?
Okay. For one, first step is correction, and I feel like Ezra should have, when he brought his mom to the kitchen, said, "You're saying all this stuff. I know how you are. You're making her feel uncomfortable." After that moment, after she's been addressed, it's on the mom to understand why she's felt uncomfortable, right? Like why she's been making people feel uncomfortable. And if I told you, or you can kind of play, you got to kind of play the scene. First, I feel like it should have been nipped in the bud way earlier.
Yep.
To me, I'm not gonna bring my mother-in-law around my friends, and even if it is a bachelorette party, I'm not gonna bring them into a situation that I know they're not prepared for.
Yeah,
because why would I do that? You know what I mean? Because that doesn't make any sense. So first, I would have to nip it in the bud originally and say, "Hey, I don't, me probably because I am my mother's son. I'm going back and forth, and I'm going to see who can make who feel uncomfortable the most first." Because if we're going to be in a room and you talking about exhibit and you talking about all this stuff, then I'm going to see who can make who feel uncomfortable first so that we can get to the root of, I don't like that.
David Duchovny was such a treasure in this movie.
Gosh.
The fact that he kept bringing up exhibit was hilarious.
And Ezra's like, "I see you going back down the road of exhibit."
And it's like, I see, and even in his speech at the rehearsal dinner, he's tried to bring it up, and that's when he moved and he started this, and they were like, "Hey, I see where this is going. It's all exhibit oriented. Maybe just wrap it up." Like that was hilarious.
She was like, "That's enough of that." And that was the other thing. The mom knew the difference, with the husband,
right?
So why don't, and maybe sometimes they feel like, well, I mean well, so like that's not what I mean. So it can't be hurtful if that's not what I mean. That's a problem. You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to know when you're not from something. If somebody's telling you that's offensive or that's not, you ain't going about that the right way, you've got to be able to bow out and say, "Oh, okay, I need to listen to this person who is clearly the expert in this situation over me as I'm just learning," or whatever the case may be. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. That ain't the issue.
Absolutely it is.
I guess.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Again, I'm not asking you to speak on behalf of all black people, but just curious your perspective on like what would be done differently. And I think that's, I tend to be, me, like I tend to be direct with stuff. So like if I've done something wrong, I'm going to come up to you and be like, "Hey man, I made you uncomfortable. What did I like? What did I do?" Like, I'm not going to wait for till it gets so bad that I'm just we're going to avoid this conversation entirely. So if I'm in a situation like Ezra again, I guess if I'm putting myself in Ezra's shoes and I am in love with this beautiful Black woman and I bring her home to meet my family and I can tell my mom is making her uncomfortable, that car ride home is going to be, how did you think that went? You looked like you were a little uncomfortable. What is there? How can I help you and support you as someone who loves you in that moment? Like, you know what I mean? And there was just so much of this, like, she's grown, she'll figure it out. And I was just like, this is not a pinnacle of how a relationship is supposed to work.
Okay, I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate here.
Please.
If you go into a relationship knowing that there's differences interracially, religiously, belief-wise, politically, whatever the case may be, because this has kind of come up, when George Floyd was murdered, about there was a lot of people who had split up because they were just on two opposite ends of opinions on
things,
how things were supposed to fall out. If you sign up for this, how much is it your responsibility to teach, guide, and show patience and grace as Lauren London when you're walking into this situation? You know what I mean? Like, you're marrying a family that may not, and I'm only speaking from the Black side of things, right? If let's use myself, if I'm dating a woman who is not the same race as me, and I don't know anything about her family, I don't know anything, and I go into it trying to establish good relationships and establish good foundation with her parents. Is it my responsibility to show grace because I decided to be in this relationship and I know that it's going to take more flexibility and I need to show a little bit of patience because I know they may not get it off the rip? Or, like, I don't know, like, whose responsibility that is, I guess.
That's a great question. And I would say, like, and I'll speak just from, like, if we take the interracial portion of this out and we set it aside entire.
Oh, Jesus, my mom is in the comments going crazy. She is going crazy right now.
Yeah, I have.
Yes, they know I'm single. I said it already.
This is incredible. I'm glad she's here for this. Here's what I'm gonna say. When you are marrying somebody,
okay,
whether you like it or not, you are marrying their family.
Of course. Yeah.
However, the most important thing is not keeping their family happy because you can't control that.
Okay.
Because regardless of your effort, they still may just like it. I am not responsible for whether or not you're not responsible for whether or not your wife's family likes you or not. You hope that they are. That's not carte blanche to be an asshole. Like, that's not carte blanche for you to be like a jerk, but it's not your responsibility to do things and to change who you are in order for them to get to like you. And Maisha, 100%. You're not sleeping with them. You're not. Your relationship is with the person you have to go home to every single day.
That's true.
So for me and from my perspective, in order for like any relationship, whether it's 1 week to 12 years, grace, kindness, and patience has to be present. Like it has to be.
Yeah.
Now, being an interracial relationship, there is a whole other layer of intersectionality there that makes this far more complicated. But I would say if we look and we analyze love in and of itself, it has to be steeped in forgiveness and kindness and grace and patience.
Yeah.
Because if it's not going to last, and you're going to end up being resentful, or you're going to feel like you're not either resented or unsupported, or you have to, like, this is a hard journey and you've picked this person to go on this boat with you.
Right. Knowing.
Yeah. And the question is, like, you could either get out the boat and float in the river by yourself, or you can figure out how the two of you work together to make sure that thing stays afloat.
Because you have to go at it's the racial component that's sticking out for me the most.
But it adds so much more flavor to this.
It's just another layer of listen, I know your mom. Believe it or not, I feel like I've been in South Dakota enough to know the difference between somebody who means well and just oblivious to the shit that they are. Like, they genuinely, they don't mean no harm. You know what I mean? They don't mean no harm. And it ain't my responsibility to teach nobody nothing. And I get that, black folk. Like, you shouldn't be in a position where you got to be like a work teacher all the time, 24/7. But your
life's not an experiment. To Lauren London's point, your life's not an experiment for someone to use as an opportunity to educate. They need to do the work. Like, and this is my message to white people. We have to do the work. Like, we can't rely on others to do the work for us.
Okay, I'm gonna say something. Me and my mom have had this conversation before, and we figured this out moving to South Dakota. All white people ain't bad. Some of them just need like some patience and time to figure, they need somebody who can like talk to them about and have these honest conversations with, right? And so some of these folk is just evil, downright nasty, right? Like, don't get it confused. There's still that out there in the world, right? But like, the other component is like, if I sign up for it, you know what I mean? Like, we have met good people. We've met the Brooks and we've met the Dougs and we've met all of these good people that genuinely have good intentions. Do they always know how to navigate a certain situation? Because they're not black. How would I expect them to know? And if their interactions have been limited, how would I expect them to know? And they know, if you've ran into me or my mom specifically, the interactions with Lamont is quite different than it is with me and Maisha.
Yes, it is. Yes, yes, it is.
And so with us, it's like, we're going to address that thing head on. Yeah. Now, my mom is very like, she done lived some years, she's seasoned, she don't put up with no bullshit. Me, give me a little bit to find a way to address and compare so I can really teach this thing of like how we get better from here. Do I have the patience to do that in a relationship all the time?
Great question. I don't know. That's a great question. And that's what it comes down to. And that's why I even say, like, I don't want to. I'm taking a big pause on an audio format, which is great for our listener, for those listening to this. Like, that's where I say, like, and in that case, maybe the juice ain't worth the squeeze. You know what I mean? Maybe if you're
pick your battles.
If you are constantly feeling like, man, I am constantly leading them to water and constantly feeling like I have to teach them, to the point where it swings the other way, where I'm not being supported because I'm doing all the work. Like, a relationship is about dividing and conquering, but not dividing and conquering, and then going like, Godspeed. It's dividing, conquering, and supporting. And if you feel like you are constantly being on the one who's doing all of the explaining, all of the supporting, all of that piece, it's not going to work. Like, it's just not like, and it's just not going to be there.
Yeah. And you got to be 100% open. Like, hey, I don't know where in the monologue of that montage that they really opened up about her being Muslim and what that meant, and talking about what do you want at a wedding. So you're telling me y'all didn't talk about any of this prior to your families coming together?
Look, you didn't sit down once.
Yeah.
Like, you just got married and went, well, off to work. Like, you didn't bring it up at all.
Yeah.
Like, and that's where I think your point where you said earlier, like, oh, they just didn't seem that excited about it. Or you said like, oh, I don't know how long they were in a relationship, because most people are so excited to get married that it's like 2 weeks later, it's like, ooh. And here's the other thing. Like, we all know really quickly, I want to let all of you like into a little bit of a secret when it comes to weddings. Weddings most of the time are for y'all's family. They ain't fucking for you. Like, they're just not. Like, they are a chance for be like, hey, Uncle Rick wants to give you a toaster. Great, have that. We'll put a party together so Rick can give me his toaster and say he's proud of me. Like, that's what this is for.
Yeah.
Like, it is a celebration of your love and your union, and there are some religious pieces there too that are important. But most of the time, it's so Rick can give you a toaster and say like, "I remember back when you rode a horse at my house." Like that's what this is for. Okay, like so like let's just put that out in the open. So, but still, this is what women unfortunately have been societally ingrained to believe, that this is where they are a princess and their dreams can come true. So you didn't want to start talking about what that looks like? Like you didn't give a shit about that like at all? Yeah. Or even your mom was painted in this certain sense of light of being a little bit overbearing and intrusive and a little bit nosy with, you should date her and being very concerned. She didn't say anything to you?
Yeah.
There was no expectations?
And then with the families and whatever, we could move whatever direction from here. Nia Long and the dad didn't have a lot of lines and say so.
No.
And I couldn't really tell where Nia Long fell in the support or against the relationship. I couldn't really call it, because it could have gone either way for me, right? The dad and the mom were really the heavy hitters and carriers of this movie. So in actuality, it's not Lauren London and Jonah Hill's movie. It's Eddie Murphy and Madam Hydra's movie. That's how this felt to me.
Yeah.
Because they really carry it, and you get clear intentions of what they're trying to do. First of all, if I go to a party and my son-in-law is doing that much cocaine, there's no way in hell you're marrying my daughter. I'm sorry. He threw him a pack of cocaine and was like, a Ziploc bag.
Gallon-sized bag of cocaine.
Yeah, no. That's not happening. That's not happening.
No.
And you mean to tell me that's how you would normally party? If we weren't around, you would be doing the cocaine and you would be doing... That's where I feel like they should have addressed that a little bit more of...
Yeah.
What does it mean to be part of the culture? Just because you got a podcast where you talk about it with a black person, who are you at your core? And that was something that I don't think that they was like, oh, that's not really me. I'm not really like the Jewish side of me. Like, that's not really like all me. But I never got to the bottom of who you really are, because you're not your religion. You're not the culture that you love. So you're not the religion you're running from. You're not the culture that you love so much. So who the fuck is Ezra? And why the fuck would I let him marry my daughter? That was honestly the question I was trying to figure out this whole time.
And the other point to that is, no wonder it's hard for them to see them have chemistry.
Yeah.
When they don't even know who they are.
Yeah. I think that was just acting chemistry, because I don't think in any situation would I see them two.
But
also that too. I agree with that.
Do you know what would happen if I referred to Brittany as my boo openly? Let's just pick 3 days. And I said, like, we go together, you're my boo. She'd be like, I love you, but what's wrong with you? It would be cute, and she would be like, and then, but if it stuck with it, she would be like, all right, what's with the my boo?
What's with the my boo? Yeah,
right. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and it just felt so awkward for him to be like, yeah, this is something.
But the age that they were in actuality and the language that they were using, I feel like was for two different audiences, right?
Yes,
like relatable for. The age thing could have been more relatable than the language that, I don't just sleep with anybody, right? So you my boo. Like, excuse me, you just gave me some nookie. Like, I just like, can we talk like adults? Like, I've seen you naked now. Like, can we just speak like your little bathroom scene with y'all hugging and doing all that stuff was cute. That little extended montage.
And also to put your toothpaste away.
Show me that. But yeah, like
before you get it all over.
Cool. Y'all bought matching sneakers and shit. That don't show me y'all in love and that y'all ready for the next step.
Unless your definition of love is a very much high school definition of love. It's like we went shoe shopping together and we got matching shoes.
Yeah. In LA, which means those shoes was like
$400.
Them shoes is expensive as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I had more problems, I think, with Jonah's character for me and where he fell because of his quote unquote love for the culture. And how big the podcast got. We talking about they was working and doing it daily and they doing what we doing. And then they got a podcast on Complex
They had a backdrop.
Yeah.
You see what's behind me? It's a fucking wall with a picture my mom painted once. Like it's like they had real money. Like that's what they had. It's a lovely picture. I love it. I love it. But it ain't podcast money. It's welcome to my basement money. Like that's,
they had a full screen behind them.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of, that's where I don't know. That's where I kind of differ.
Now I do want to compare this because
your brother said, "Hey, don't bring mom's painting."
I say it. It's displayed, isn't it? It's not hiding under the bed behind me. I could put it away, but I leave it there.
Leave Mama Wagner out of this.
Proud of it.
Why is it when we come on this podcast, I got to be the one to defend the Wagner?
I don't know. Man. You are a
whoa.
When is my OnlyFans money coming in? Ooh, that's a different podcast.
That's the exclusive Patreon content.
Yeah, that's the third heat tier Patreon content.
You gotta up it. You gotta up it if you want to have those conversations.
So here's what I'm gonna say. I want to compare this because you recommended or asked me between when I watched the movie on Saturday and when we recorded this podcast to watch a movie. It's true. That's a very good point. You got to show some nips.
OnlyFans is the way that everybody's getting it. Don't you worry. I'm gonna show me a feed or two on some OnlyFans because I'm gonna charge $30 a month and I'm gonna show y'all my big toe. And
I'm gonna show people exclusively my left butt cheek, and that is it. I'll paint faces on it, and it'll be like for $5 extra, you get to peek the face I paint on my left butt cheek. Like that's
the right cheek. Is the right cheek like a separate Patreon? Like you get left cheek OnlyFans and then right cheek OnlyFans?
No, man.
What y'all mean? Y'all don't want to see my feet on the OnlyFans, man?
I mean,
how sick.
Anyway, you asked me to watch the 2005 movie Guess Who, starring the incomparable Bernie Mac.
Yeah, we did.
Rest in peace. Zoe Saldana and Ashton Kutcher. And this is a very similar style movie.
Yeah.
A little bit different, but very similar. And I would like to say outright that this let Brian off the hook. Because Brittany said out loud about halfway through this movie that says, Marcus owes me one for watching this movie. And, and I went, I don't care for this. So
I wanted Doug to, I didn't know Brittany was going to watch it. So sorry, Brittany. I wanted Doug to watch this because I wanted to see who executed the storyline of white son-in-law being married into a black family better. Like who did it better, who executed it better, who resolved things better. You know what I mean? Like that was kind of thing. Also, them randomly throwing a wedding in LA and you people just seem like extremely expensive. Like for you to just have a venue ready to go and doing all that shit. Like that was a lot for me. But
and like an artsy venue too, like not like any
like a nice venue. Yeah, that was a lot. But I just wanted to see. So Doug, I want you to tell me between the two movies, who do you think executed things better?
Yeah. So the plot's a little bit different. So let's lay some groundwork for those that have not seen Ashton Kutcher and Bernie Mac's Guess Who. The difference is that this is entirely Zoe Saldana's family because they lay some groundwork. Ashton Kutcher's dad ran out. Mom just is there, but not really. Like just that they decided like we're just gonna leave this and have this be an entirely Zoe Saldana brings Ashton Kutcher back home to meet her dad for the first time. And I would say if I had to stand these movies up next to each other, they check different boxes. Like here's one. I really enjoyed that Bernie Mac and his wife, who were renewing their vows in the movie, they didn't like outwardly say, I'm going to destroy this man. There was hesitation of who he was and bringing him into their family and what his motivations were. But there was never this like, I'm going to get him. Like, and I appreciated that they did not do this thing where it was like, we hate this person. We don't want their, we're trying to break them up. Like he was like, I'm going to lay out some ground rules. My ground rules are going to seem silly and foreign and over the top, but I'm going to lay some ground rules. Because to be honest with you, the whole thing, like with the hotel, I made this reservation. He says out loud, this quote from Bernie Mac, which I thought was very funny. It was and I think it was great when they're in the hotel. And he's like, "Oh, so you made this reservation before I came here?" He goes, "I made this reservation 28 years ago when she was born," which is this is a ground rule for my house. It has nothing to do with your identity. I just don't want her. I just don't want you staying at the house. So I appreciated that. Check that box. What did I would say in terms of Jonah Hill, Ashton Kutcher? I'm going to take Jonah Hill. Oh, okay. Ashton Kutcher was just there was something about either the writing of his lines, the delivery. I don't know what it was, but he was the problem with my enjoyment of this.
He was movie. The problem.
He was, you take and put anybody else in that role, this movie's better. I don't know what it was. If it was writing or the way he portrayed it, I just didn't care.
The 2005 writing will do it to you.
Yeah. That's back when Ashton Kutcher was big too.
Yeah.
Series of movies. He was coming off of that 70s show. He had done Punked. He also did that like romantic comedy with Brittany Murphy. Like there was all sorts of stuff in there that he had done. So he was
Butterfly Effect.
Butterfly Effect. He was big at that 2005 like arc. So, but which one does it? I don't know. I also think though there's still elements of like mistrust and not being entirely forthright. I do think that they did a better job of giving Zoe Saldana a little bit more character development in this movie than they did with Lauren London. That was the one like criminal thing I think they did in You People is Lauren London was very much like we didn't get to see a whole lot of her agency or her choice or who she was. She was very much a background piece, which in a movie about an interracial couple, it feels weird to be like, let's put the white man forward.
It was severely imbalanced. And I don't know if that goes to the Jonah Hill having a writing credit or producing credit, because, you know, if you're writing a movie, do you focus on your character's development? And is You People, and I could be wrong, is it a story about Ezra finding the balance and everything, or is it a story about the couple finding balance and learning things about each other? You know what I mean? Like, which one is it? Because I agree with you. I don't think Lauren London got a lot of character development.
So I appreciate then in Guess Who that Zoe Saldana had a lot more character arc to her.
For sure.
Right. I also, but where I think like it's hard to compare them because it's very different time frames and very different situations, like a whole litany of stuff historically in terms of like historical events have not happened in 2005.
That's true.
So there's a whole other dynamic to this that's very different. So I don't know who does it better. I personally enjoyed You People more than I enjoyed Guess Who. I think that I appreciated that how Bernie Mac came. I don't know. But you can't compare Bernie Mac and Eddie Murphy.
No.
To compare, two titans in terms of their roles. I would say I appreciated Bernie Mac's development a little bit more.
Yeah.
I appreciated his storyline a little bit more. Because the end of that movie it's not, I did him dirty. It's, you love him. Why is this an issue? And being a father to his daughter. So that's the end of Guess Who. Whereas You People is very much the end of this is the conversation between brothers. Like you were hard on him. You put him through it.
Yeah.
Like, why did you do that? Like,
I like that ending better of You People.
Yeah. And so I think that they're very different movies. I enjoyed You People a little bit more than Guess Who. I think I also appreciate that You People didn't have the like over sexualized piece of a romantic comedy. And this is what I mean by that. There's this whole scene. I mean, Ashton Kutcher was ready to to take Zoe Saldana in her parents' house while wearing her nightie in the middle of her room at like 4:00 in the afternoon. And so there was a part of this that I was like, you didn't comedically, we didn't need to go there. Like we could have done something a little bit more.
That was unrealistic. I'm about to say
it's not. Look,
I'd be ready to, yeah. And yeah,
that might be a whole other podcast for us to talk about. To talk about that.
I want my wife wherever we at.
Then it sounds like you should get a hotel room because
no, I'm gonna do it right there. I'm gonna do it right in that room.
Oh, okay.
That's how you spice it up, man. You gotta stay on the toes.
I get spicing it up, but your dad, but her dad and family is downstairs.
It's the fear
you gotta go. Like, what's the end result of that? You're gonna go look them in the face and be like, "Look at what I did. You hear? Did you hear?
This is what you gotta say. You and your partner gotta shut up. Everybody, shh, stop, be quiet. Like you just everybody just gotta be quiet.
No,
let's move on. Let's just go. Let's just move on.
You're gonna have to look your father-in-law in the face and be like, "Did you hear that? What'd you think of that?" It's gonna put a whole damper on the evening.
No,
and at 4:00 in the afternoon.
So what?
There are rules.
No, rules.
Anyway,
I do like you people's. I do like the and maybe to wrap it up. So I feel like you people had a better ending with the father and his epiphany.
Yes.
Eddie Murphy and the parents' epiphany, really.
Yeah.
And that's where it kind of made me wish maybe they would have focused more on not just as either focus on Ezra and his development or the parentals. Don't introduce Stern Father if you can't really cover all of Stern Father's thoughts. Because then Stern Father comes in, he's stern, then he leaves. And I don't know if I got a complete story with it, if I felt complete in the story with it. So I do like that. First of all, Mike Epps playing Eddie Murphy's brother, I thought was
amazing,
hilarious. I think that they have great chemistry off screen, and that's why you could kind of tell it was so organic. They had more chemistry together than Jonah Hill and Lauren London.
Mike Epps is a what I would say a unsung hero of most movies that he's in, because he is so comedically hilarious, and yet he's never the top billed dude.
He can play the background.
Yeah.
But Deion Cole was also, when they were talking about them damn Tron suits, Deion Cole's part was so small. But there was this one part where they have the two, so they're both wedding planners, and Deion Cole is one from the hood, and then the Coens, which is the Jewish family, they have their wedding planner. Yeah, they have this one scene where the wedding planner saying, "We basically gotta hurry, y'all. We gotta hurry." She puts her hand on Deion Cole, and he looks down as her hand touches him. He looks at her hand and looks back up at her. And to me, that was the most organic and the funniest. Deion Cole is just really good at that.
He's hilarious.
He doesn't have to say anything in order for the shit to be hilarious. I really like when the cast was not a problem.
The cast was awesome.
The cast was not a problem. It's just some areas I just felt maybe were incomplete for me. And maybe it's because I'm not in an interracial relationship, but I am black at the end of the day.
Well, and I think you're right, though. And I think your point about the dad, I think there are and I don't know if this is, Kenya Barris. I don't know if it's Jonah Hill. I don't know who is this, because Kenya Barris was responsible for Blackish and White-ish.
He does all the interracial.
He has some expertise at covering this and writing about it.
It's his topic.
So it's his area. It's his forte, right? This is in his wheelhouse to cover this. So there's a part of me, and especially in a modern day setting, because Blackish came out 6 years ago, and it has been important going forward. So there's a whole element to that. So I don't know. Is it Jonah Hill? Who is it that put this in there?
Because you don't do a sequel though.
Because you're right. You put in pieces specifically with Eddie Murphy's character, and even with Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, you put in some of these pieces where it was they just You had complex things, but you didn't give them the attention and the light that they needed. This either needed to be about the parents or it needed to be about the kids. And you tried to say, what if it was about everybody? And that just ain't going to work.
That's like too much.
It's too much for a movie. So yeah. But yeah, I would recommend people watch it. Like, it's not a bad watch. Like, it's certainly worth a watch, especially since it's on Netflix, right? Like, it's not a bad watch. It's
it's a free watch. It's easy. I mean, just watch it for yourself. See what everybody's gonna have different parts. Because when I went on socials, TikTok is like half of the algorithm was like, this movie was great, and then it really breaks into layers of like people in interracial relationships saying what's real and what's not. You have the women's side, you have the men's side. So like there's so many different conversational pieces happening. I really feel like you just gotta go feel it by yourself. You know what the fuck I'm gonna do? Move on to the next movie, because I don't think there's any chance of me rewatching this or anything like that. No. I just don't see myself doing it. So I'm just gonna I
would love to have a conversation though, like almost as a follow-up. I would almost love to have a conversation with someone who was in a interracial marriage.
For sure. Tell me how relatable this actually is.
Tell me what we missed, and tell me how relatable this is, because I only have my lens as my marriage, which is not interracial, and you only have the experience that you have. And we all know how your mom feels about it. So there's that. So, but yeah. So yeah, check it out. Worth a watch. It's a free watch. So yeah, absolutely.
Do whatever the hell y'all want to do, man.
That's right. Marcus, anything else that you would like to say either about the Guess Who or You People?
No, I think watch both. In the world that we live in, racial tensions are high. Just watch something different. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even if you're not you don't feel like you relate to it, or you're not in an interracial relationship or something like that, watch something different. It's a good conversational piece. It's a good 100%. Piece. Like maybe you don't understand something. Honestly, even beyond the interracial dating part, it's like, how do you interact with people outside of your normal circle, world, community? You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, look at that component. Even if it's not about the dating portion, are you a Cohen? You know what I mean? Or are you on the complete opposite end and you're like an Eddie Murphy? Just look at how you interact. How well do you know people? How well do you interact with people that aren't like you? And you know what I mean? So that's all I can say. Go watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything, sir, that you would like to plug this week?
Of course. There's one thing I want to promote first is the lovenerds.com.
Love Nerds.
TheLoveNerds.com. All right, so go to lovenerds.com. They have all types of recipes. They have all types of tips and tricks and tools for the trade. All right, as we are going into Black History Month, I don't know if there's anything on there, but there's a recipe you can use to have a good Black History Month celebration. I'm pretty sure on the lovenerds.com, and that's why we love the lovenerds.com. All right, so that's TheLoveNerds.com. Visit the lovenerds.com.
Here's what I will say. Yeah. If you are looking to maybe, Valentine's Day is coming up, and maybe you're looking for like some fly t-shirt designs for you and your special someone to wear, I'm sure that there's something about there.
Valentine's Day.
That's fine. It's okay. That's
it's Black History Year.
Or if you are looking to make something super special and you know that your significant other loves some truly delicious wings, there's some fucking bomb ass wings on that site that you could check out and enjoy for yourself. So head over to the lovenerds.com to pick it all up.
Yeah. Next thing we want to promote is follow the mantra. We will be releasing 2 special edition hoodies, crew necks, all that kind of good stuff on our follow the mantra spreadshirt.com. There will be 2. One is called My Boo and one is called I forgot what this is called. This is just called Valentine's Day. So buy 2 different Noah gear. Never offended, always humble. You know the mantra. Make sure you style the mantra. Get something for yourself, get something for your friends, but above anything else, follow the mantra. Never offended, always humble.
Are there any plans for the store to do any sort of intimate apparel? Like if I wanted to put follow the mantra, like I wanted to put follow the mantra on some boxers.
Yeah, I can. No.
Okay. Good. Appreciate it. Nope. That's what I needed was a direct answer. Don't get my hopes up. Don't get my hopes up.
I would say keep follow the mantra off your left cheek OnlyFans.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't. Yeah.
Well, then I don't think it's going to work. I I would like to plug this podcast. So we got some great stuff coming up. There's some big movies coming out that we're going to cover. Next week, we're covering Knock at the Cabin. Then 2 weeks after that, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania we're going to cover. So stick with us. The best way to show the podcast some love is to share us with a friend. So send us a friend or a family member your recommendation.
Love you, Brian.
You love films in black and white. Yes, we love you, Brian. And we have some big things in the Patreon. So coming up, we've got our Ask Us Anything, which is exclusive for our Patreon folks. And remember, you always get to pick movies that we watch. You get your producing credit that way. So sign up for the Patreon at patreon.com/films in black and white. Marcus, we have a 3-step process to success. What is the first step, sir?
The first step is you want to read a book. All right. You want to read a book, any book, whatever book you want to do. You know what I mean? Just read it. All right. Read, and don't just read it just to read it. Read to comprehend. Okay. Because you can just read a book of some bullshit, right? And scanning it and ain't really taking in what's being
looking
said,
for keywords.
Yeah, just so you can give some type of bullshit summary of say, oh, I read it. Like, no. This ain't box tops reading. All right. We talking about some real reading with comprehension. All right. So make sure you read a book.
Absolutely. The second step to success is, look, y'all, drink some water. This dry air is going to suck the goddamn life out of you. And if you don't put some water in your system, your whole skin is going to get dried out and you're going to itch. And if you're the type of person who gets ashy, you're going to get ashy too. It's going to be a whole thing. So just make sure that you drink some water. Treat yourself to some nice water, like a Voss or a Fiji. Like, those are all options, but drink your water because at the end of the day, it's dry out here, man. Like, it's really dry. It's very dry. So take us on to that third step.
The last step is you want to make sure before you go meet any type of in-laws or anything like that, that you are washing that ass. Okay, you want to make sure that you are washing that ass. You don't want to go meet new people and you don't you don't know what's going on and they trying to figure out where that stink is coming from, and it's really coming from the crack of your ass. Okay, so always make sure that you are washing your ass. You are doing everything that you're supposed to. Wash your legs, wash your feet. When the last time you washed the bottom of your feet? You don't even know what they look like. They could be black as hell. You need to
standing in the water is not enough.
That's not enough. Hopping in there just to say you did it. You're not a child anymore. Okay. No. You don't just hop in the water, get wet so that your parents can check your hair to see if you really bathed or not. You need to get your grown ass in the tub and wash your ass.
Please. Just please. That does it for this week's episode of Films in Black and White. We will be back next week with M. Night Shyamalan's Knock on the Cabin. In the meantime, and in the between time, stay safe. What?
I'm gonna play this outro again too.
Oh, you should. In the meantime, and in the between time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We will catch y'all next week.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black and I'm black. Yo, I'm black and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, cause I'm black.